Hello dear friends, welcome back to this YouTube video. So in this YouTube video we are doing a Terraform challenge. So one moment, I get something. So we are going to learn how to do infrastructure as code. So I want to set up something here. I want to set up my microphone. So here we have a DJI mic mini. Perfect. Yeah, now it's well connected. So let's talk about Terraform. So Terraform is a software whereby you use it to deploy infrastructure. So like say you have a AWS account. Let's see, AWS console. So if you have a AWS console, you go to the console, and if you want to create an EC2, you click some buttons. You can be able to do that. Then you can be able to use API to create an EC2 or to create any resource you want. You can be able to do that, but you can be able to do that if you are learning. But now if we are moving to a production environment, you want your software to move from being built by developer to being operated by customer in a very simple and a seamless manner. So that is where we have Terraform. So Terraform can be able to come to EC2, to AWS console in quotes, and it can be able to create an EC2 instance. So it's able to do that by using a very simple language which is created by HashiCorp, and it is .tft. So you create a main.tft. So we will be going to do that in this video. So in this with the video we are doing a challenge on 30 days of Terraform. So I have already written an article where you can go and learn like how to set up a AWS account. So you set up AWS account, then you download Terraform on your account. So I did participate in this challenge last year, but I could not be able to finish it. I don't know, last year it was very difficult for me, but for this year I'm going to push myself until I achieve this. So this is the folder that I created. I also created a GitHub account, and I don't know whether can I be able to see it. So this is the GitHub account. We are going to do the terraforms. So in this video, the most thing that I want to achieve is to be able to create an EC2 instance by not clicking any button. But if you want to create an EC2 instance, you have to press launch, then you place your name, you select the instance type, then you can be able like to select your VPC, and also here you select your EMI, or what we call OS. So you can be able to select it here, then the key pairs and everything. So most probably is faster for if you're creating one instance. But now let's say you want to create 100 instance with different configuration. You can be able to create like 100 similar configuration, like 100 T3 micro. But now can we be able to create 100 EC2, one with T3 micro, other one with T3 small? So that is the problem, like Terraform is coming to solve. So to launch an EC2, this is very simple if you are using the console. I think I did a video on how to be able to launch an EC2. With all that done, so let's go to the terminal. So this is my terminal. So I want to go to the download folder where I have the folder with Terraform. So CD, man. Then so let me do the day 3, like we make a directory of day 3. Then we cd into it. I want to copy the git ignore. So we are just basically setting it up. So now we are good. We control L. So now we want to do the Terraform thingy. So this is my folder. Let me generate the first thing in it. First commit message. Bam. Then we want to create so let's document it. So you can see Terraform comes with main.tft. I drink some water. So here I have my notes. Let me check. uh, Definitely I can be able to do, can definitely be able to deploy as EC2, but I cannot be able to do a web server. So now this is the main thing we are supposed to do. So now let's do the first thing first. We want to create a provider. So the provider we're going to use is AWS. So before we do provider, I have to install the extension. So these are the few extensions you need to have. So you need to have a HashiCorp autocomplete to be enable us to go do the, when you write provide, it like you don't have to get the provide from out of your name, out of your hand, out of your head. Then the other one is AWS toolkit. Install. So that now is being installed. As that is continuing, I think I can be able to write this. So this is what we are going to write. Provide AWS, then the region I'm going to use is that. So you can see we have the suggestion. I think that is AI. Doing its thing. So this is the first thing you're supposed to write. Provider, then you select your region. Let me show you on a picture. So by doing that simple thing, we have been able to select our AWS account and then the region. So now we want to deploy our EC2. So to deploy as an EC2, you have to write resources. So this is not the name. I don't know examples stand for what, but that is how you can be able to. So also here, at the end of the resource, we are not writing anything, like we are not giving it a comma or a semicolon. So we go to the next part, we write the instant is. This is taking so much time to install, but don't worry. So we write instance 2. Inside type, then we write T2 micro. si umepata ikuwa on. So we put so by that we can be able to spin a server. So let me get my terminal. So now this is where we have, I think let's use our terminal here. So let's save. So to start, so that we can like spin a server, we have to use Terraform service. So you write Terraform, then init. So what does init do? Terraform init, it goes into the internet and downloads the code specifically for AWS, for this provider, and the provider we have specified is AWS. So it download this code, then that is the first thing it does. So let's press enter and does it. So now you can see it has gone to the internet and it has been able to download. It's downloading, what do you call it, a HashiCorp for AWS. So let's wait. So save that. So now we are able to do a T3 small, like we have been able to do this. So when this is downloaded, if we go to our folder here, let me show you, we will find some files. This is taking so much time, but I have to wait. So this is AWS toolkit. Now if you will, let me show you. So if you signing in, you'll be able to see various services that you have. So I want to see, you can see here I have an EC2 and it has detected like my profile, and it detected I have an EC2 here. So let's see, here you can see we have this EC2 and it's running, and here also you can see it. So now you can be able like to see your stuff. I don't have an API gateway, but I have S3, nothing. But for S3 I have some. So you can see it can be able like to see all on my things here. And if you don't know how to connect it, it's very simple. So I think it has detected my AWS access key in the terminal, and it was able to log in. Now HashiCorp is taking so much time. This one is taking so much time. What about this one? Also taking so much time. Well, so now we have successfully installed it, but it took a lot of time. So let's go out here. We want to see something in the file system. You can see here we have a Terraform folder. So this Terraform folder, it is containing AWS, what do you call it, AWS resource. So now that is the first step. So we go to the second step. The second step, we are going to use Terraform plan. So what does Terraform does? Terraform checks if anything changed. You can see here we don't have anything that has changed. Everything is new. So did we specify the web server EMI? So let's confirm that here. we have this number. So now let's, like, it has planned all this for us. So now let's now Terraform apply. Then we type yes. So we have an error. So let me confirm on my notes. Let me confirm through the AI side. Why are we using a? We go back to the terminal and we try again. So we will not use Terraform in it because it has already initialized it, but let's see what could happen. So we do. You can see now it's very fast because we have already downloaded it. So we document this shit. Then we write Terraform plan. Now you will see the pluses and the tilde will change. So that is done. So we write Terraform apply. We write yes. Invalid AMI ID. So we have this one is the problem we have. So let's confirm with the one we have here. Let's try with this one. So if this one refuses, we will use the other one. We will get it from AWS. Still we have that problem. So let's go to the AWS and we check the AMI from here. So we have the AMD AI AMD. I have found it there. So let's go here and try with this new one from also. Let's check Terraform extension was already saved, and also you can see we have the code for provider downloaded here. So we do Terraform plan also. So we are creating, still creating, and we have been able to create an EC2. So let me go back. Then we refresh. We should have two EC2, and we have them. And you can see it is about it's initializing. So now we have been able to create a successful EC2, but now how you can see it does not have a name, so we can be able to use Terraform to create a name. So we come here, then we want to write its Terraform name. So how do you write a name? To write a name, you use the word tag. So you write tag, then is equals, then like that, then you write a name, then we want the name of the server that we want. We can give it web server. So with that done, now we want to see whether it will change our name. So let's do that again. Terraform plan. So it is refreshing our state. So Terraform has a state where it checks if anything has changed. So it is able to detect the changes. So it has noticed these tags didn't exist, so it's going to add them, and there is no other change it's going to do. So let's also change the example. Let's see if it will change. So. Four. Wonder. So you can see it is going to delete this. So it will delete this. Wow. Because we have made the changes. Okay. That's so interesting. So just destroy it and let's tell it to destroy it and we do it again. It will take us sometimes. Okay. Let's go baby. Destroy web server.example and create instance.web server. Also, let's monitor the time it will take to destroy and create another one. You can definitely guess. Man, this is so hard. This is so hard because it's so it took 58 minutes. Okay. So let's go to the server and see what are the changes. What did we have? Refresh. Let's refresh. So you can see this one is being terminated. We have a new one which is being created and we have a name. Man, this is so beautiful. So now we have been able to do the part one of this challenge. We have been able to create a web server using Terraform. So should I do the none? I'm thinking also to do the last part. So this is the challenge we are doing here. So we have been able to deploy a single server. It does not have the the ingredients to make it a web server. So let's see if we have made we have achieved today's achievement. So we were able to do this. we were able to download the provider code, and you can see it here. So if we go to HashiCorp, you can see we were able to download the provider by using Terraform init. It was able to initialize, go to the internet, and download Terraform AWS provider. So we did not do this because this is unsecure. We were able to, like, Terraform was able to go to my to what do you call it, to my terminal. Let me show you. This is my terminal. We go into CD home. So this is, it was able to go to this folder. So it's able to go to this folder. It's not a directory. Like that, then enter. It was able to come here, and it was able to read my credentials. So that is why we did not use let me screenshot. I cannot be able to double task. So that is it. So we did not expose our access key for that. So we were able to create that. So now we are able to do Terraform plan. We were able to do Terraform apply. Able to see this. So basically we have finished this lab. Okay, so we can destroy the Kaldini. Let's destroy it. So to destroy it, you just write Terraform. Terraform destroy, and the destroy is commencing. We can come here, refresh. Control Shift 4. Oh, we have not, like, to destroy, so you need to confirm. Terminated. Also, I cannot be able to see the chart. So how do I do that? Go to Hi. Oh, sorry, I could not be able like to see the chat. Okay, sorry for that. I could not be able like to connect through the chat. So now we are able to do this. I'll be able to check that. So you can drop your question there. So we were able to do this using code, and it's very satisfying. So the other part that we are remaining with is to deploy a web server. To deploy, so we have to write a resource block. Okay, this is the part I'm supposed to do. This is the two parts I'm supposed to do. For this I have been able to do that. To write a blog I have not yet started. This is what I'm doing right now. Then maybe I push my code to the GitHub. So we have been able to do that. We go to lab number 2. So to lab number 2, this is what we are supposed to do. So lab number 2, it talks about Terraform lab blocks. But before we learn about Terraform lab blocks, let me show you something here. So this is what we were talking about. We are talking about how to be able to use Terraform to provide your software with with infrastructure, most probably the cold cloud infrastructure. So we have various tools that you can be able to use to provide infrastructure. Like in earlier days, many people used to have physical server and do the configuration on that. I think some people still do this. It's still not dark ages. People are like they build a physical server and they interconnect it, and they are able to plug them up and run their software on their own database. So it's still not dark ages. Then we have where you can be able to write like bash script to be able to provide your your infrastructure. So but the problem with this, with providing your infrastructure through bash code, is it is not able to detect the state, whether like here in our EC2 it cannot be able to detect whether this web server is running. And if we had a mistake here, it cannot be able to detect state. But with Terraform it's able to do that. And this is the form that this is the part it can be able to do that. It detects the versions, and it detects whether anything has changed. I think I have changed 4 times. That is why Terraform is able to detect that. But why are these? I think this file are already added to git ignore, so they cannot be tracked. So that is what we are saying about Terraform. Like using bash script is good, but it cannot be able to detect whether they changes the state of our machines. That why Ansible, I'm still I don't have much knowledge about this, but this is where I am learning. And in Terraform, in terms of declarative, so we have declarative API provision. So like this challenge I'm doing is to be able to use Terraform to provide to provision infrastructure. So first thing first, we have to ask ourselves, what is AIC? AIC is infrastructure as code. So instead of going to a console and creating the infrastructure, we have, let me show you with an example here. Escape. So I did a project a long time ago. I think this. So I did a project where did I commit there? So you can say this is the project I did about Terraform, and the way I did it, it was able to go to, it was using AWS as a provider, and it's in a way it is, this is my code. Also in my code we have infrastructure, and infrastructure is stored here in Terraform folder. So in main.tf you can see here, like I was able to provision EC2 instance. So here I was able to do an EC2 instance. Then you can be able to create even a security groups. We also did AWS Cognito. This is for where for people to authenticate. We were able even to do AWS container registry, and we are even able to do AWS S3 bucket. Like you can see now, this is the code for, this is the JavaScript code, and we have infrastructure in the same package. So that is where we have Terraform winning. Like you can be able to combine your infrastructure and your code. So, and the other part we have is declarative. What do we mean by declarative? By declarative we mean is if you want to have, like if you want water, you just say I want water, and Terraform is able to go to, it's able to figure out, go to the tap and fetch water and get a bottle and put water in the bottle and bring it to me. So that is what we mean by declarative. You just declare what you want. You say I want water. You don't specify like all the steps that I have said. Terraform is, what do we call it, is intelligent enough to understand that, and it's able to execute your plan. So you can see here in our code, here in our code, it was able to this was able to understand I am using AWS. I'm using AWS. The region I'm using is AWS US East 1, and I need an EC2 AWS instance, and I need a T3 micro. I just declared that. Okay. So Terraform and ground formation, I think they are the same, but the difference that we have with crowd formation is crowd formation is just for AWS. You can't be able like to use it for Google, but with Terraform you can be able to use it for Google, Azure, and Alibaba. So this is the point I was telling you. We have declarative. You just declare I want water, and it's Terraform job to figure out how to get water. But in other infrastructure as code method, they use procedure like this Ansible. They use procedural method to get something. Like you say I want water, you have to describe, go to the tap, fetch a bottle, fetch water, then close the bottle and bring it to me. So this is how we were able to write the main.tft. So main.tft, we have provider. You can be able to have provider as GCP, Alibaba, AWS. Then you select your region. For this part, we ignored the data parts. Then we had resources. So the resources is another part you have to write. Is the resource which you want. If you want AWS S3, you write AWS S3. If you want an instance, AWS instance, then here you write a name. I'm yet to find out where that name goes to. So we were able to use these what do we call it, these Terraform commands. We were able to do Terraform init. It goes to in the internet, and if you have said you want your provider to be AWS, it goes to the internet and downloads AWS SDK and brings it into your laptop. So it checks on this code. If you have said Terraform AWS GCP, it goes to the internet and gets the GCP provider. So after downloading that, we are able to do Terraform plan. So Terraform plan, it is able to do various three things. So we have a plus, and we have a minus, and we have a tilde. So with a tilde, it is able to modify, and I think you have seen it here. So here it was able to go to our resource and modify. It was able to change example to web server. So that is where it is able to, like, we have three parts. It modify, destroy. So to destroy, it went through and deleted everything that is it has put on a minus, and anything that it has put on a plus, it created it. So that is the Terraform plan, what it does. So after planning that, you are able to do Terraform apply, and the changes that you have made, Terraform applies them. So that is how we does it. Let me check. I think I have talked so much. Well, la 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 la. So I think that's everything that is contained. So you can see the journey of which a software goes through. A developer commits his change, then we have Terraform here as DevOps, and maybe we push it to GitHub. GitHub is able to do its thing, then Terraform is able to do its thing, and we sometimes when I was doing my I was doing my project, I saved a Terraform state on these two. These two was able to save the Terraform state, and it usually went here to check the state, and then it was able to do exactly like this. I had a load balancer, I had a CDN, a CloudFront, and it went to be able to create a auto scaling group in a way such one EC2 could fail, it could create another one immediately. So things, and these are for tomorrow. These are all for tomorrow. So for this part, we were just able to understand this part. So my brain has overheated. So let me end.